think it's still premium and not expensive. There are other risk factors which are more prominent in India. On the whole, the story is strong. Fundamentals are strong. Economic factors, if you look at the deficit, still reasonable. Service sector exports, very strong, supporting the deficit. Forex reserves buffer is quite high. So it's a strong story. The growth numbers continue to give results. The big risk in India, it's not so much the valuation. The reason I don't think it's valuation is if you look at the revision of earnings data over the last 12 months, for ACWI, on an average, it was around 8%. For India, it was around 18%. So there's still value to be unlocked in that market. Now, the big risk there is the unemployment. And that's something that needs to be addressed. I was looking at numbers recently. India needs to...
Youth unemployment specifically?
Youth unemployment specifically. And it's a very tricky one to judge because the data is all over the place. There's a whole sector which cannot be mapped so easily, so we're not able to track that. We've read number, but India needs to produce 10 to 12 to 15 million jobs, additional jobs a year, which at this point we're around 8 to 9, I think. Yes, there was allocation in the budget for that, but will India recover fast enough from this unemployment problem? And to just give you an example, there was an employment event for Air India in Mumbai a couple of months back, I think. There were 2,000 openings and 25,000 youth showed up. It almost resulted in a stampede. So the problem is real. And if that happens, then the whole, like you said, that takes the shine off the economy completely. So that needs to be addressed.
I'm very curious if we can sort of compare and contrast the labor situation in India versus, let's say, China, where youth unemployment is also high and is also a problem, right? There's some experts who say, look, the situation in China is not that there aren't enough people, right? It's more that there's a skills mismatch. It's all these kids coming out of colleges with 4-year degrees or whatever and going, look, yeah, I see their jobs in a factory. That's not the kind of job I want, though. Is that the situation in India as well? Or?
Exactly. That's exactly it. A big sector of the youth, young population, is still in the informal sector. A big sector, I think maybe more than 40%, still in agriculture. So the skill gap, and it has been a perennial issue with India, so that skill gap needs to be covered. I think in the budget there was a 2 trillion rupee allocation just to focus on skill gap. But without the help from private sector, I think it can't just be a government initiative.